Today I'm talking to Annemarie Luck, one of our Retreats in the Wild facilitators. Annemarie will be leading our Creative Flow retreat in June 2026. And Annemarie comes with 2 decades of experience as a magazine writer and editor in London, Tokyo, and Cape Town. Annemarie has also published her first book in 2018, and she is in the final stages, editing stages of her second book. Annemarie is also a kundalini yoga teacher, and she's going to be bringing these two passions of hers to the Creative Flow retreat here at Namwa Tented Lodge, which is where I currently am sitting. Welcome, Annemarie.
Thank you. Thank you for that lovely introduction. I'm excited to be here and
Annemarie,
excited
I
for my
think
retreat.
can't believe it's almost still a year away. I mean,
Yeah, just less
can you
than a year. I know.
can you tell me,
Yes,
when did your passion for writing start?
that's a very easy question. I feel like it's been forever. I feel like since I could write, there was that passion. Um, yeah, I think I remember when I was just a kid and writing little stories and writing what I thought back then would be a book. Um, I remember being on family holidays and sitting with my notepad and writing. Um, so that has just been something that has been a knowing for me forever, and I always knew that I wanted to be a writer. Um, it was never a question. So.
And did you ever find a time where you lost that creative flow, where you lost your creativity and maybe have experienced a block of some sort where you were set back and didn't quite know where you were on the right path, perhaps?
I think that's a great question for so many reasons. So, my retreat is themed creative flow. It's a writing and yoga retreat. And that's part of the point is to help people to let the creativity flow, whether they are already a writer or a creative person in some way and they are feeling a block for whatever reason. There's so many reasons we can be creatively blocked in life, whether it's just modern day stress and anxiety. Um, yeah, that's actually something that I went through a couple of years ago. So I really understand what it's like when you just feel like life becomes so overwhelming, and everything is a little bit too much, and everything starts to feel like it's breaking down, and there's no chance you can be creative in that state. It's like you hit that like freeze state. So I definitely experienced that. Um, I went through, it's probably around about a 6 to 8 month phase where I was experiencing just that, a huge amount of anxiety to the point where I couldn't really function. So it was quite debilitating. I couldn't be in a car, I couldn't drive, I couldn't really work for a few months. So I definitely couldn't write. I even couldn't even sleep, which was like the
Mm.
last straw for me. And it was really through that experience that I started to um, discover and investigate and find ways to bring my system back into balance. And that is when I discovered Kundalini Yoga. Um, of course, there's other ways of rediscovering your creative flow, but for me, this has been instrumental. The Kundalini yoga has been instrumental in balancing my system, balancing my nervous system, helping me to work with my emotions rather than let them work against me, and therefore allow things, energy to flow, and therefore creativity to flow. And from that, and through my ongoing practice of Kundalini yoga, I have just felt an abundance of creativity again,
Mm.
and it's been a really magical journey.
So now it's interesting that you chose Kundalini yoga because you have so many different forms of of yoga these days.
Hmm.
And I know Kundalini, I've heard it described as everything from life-changing to frightening to mystical to almost a little dangerous. and some people are drawn to it. Some people are absolutely petrified of it and don't want to go there at all. So why do you think there's so much misunderstanding around Kundalini yoga or around Kundalini just as a teaching?
Yeah. No, that's also a great question. I know that also recently there's been a documentary series that came out that has probably added fuel to that fire. Um,
Mm,
that stems from the story around Yogi Bhajan. During my Kundalini teacher training that I completed last year, this was a hot topic, and so we spoke about it a lot. And my one of my mentors on that course was actually taught by Yogi Bhajan, so he has firsthand experience of what that was like. And in a nutshell, without going too deep into that, but in a nutshell, that style of Kundalini yoga was very rigid. Um, People that I interacted with on my teacher training course who went to those classes described it as being quite militant, like very strict, like you had to sort of wake up at 3 in the morning and you had to be doing your like breath of fire for like, you had to be doing it for a long time, you had to be doing your practice for a long time, and it was like keep up, keep up, keep up.
mm,
And the style of Kundalini yoga that my mentors, there's two of them that work together on the course, teach, and so that I now practice, is much more gentle. It's much more inclusive. It's designed to almost seduce the Kundalini energy, the flow of the energy through your body, as opposed to forcing it. It's very much more about finding balance within your system as opposed to
mm,
forcing the energy. And so um, I think there's a lot that happened with Yogi Bhajan, and unfortunately there's like reports coming out that he was abusive to his students in the end, and it was a cult-like situation. So I totally get that people might be put off or frightened because of those reports. But the style that I practice and that I've learned is very much about you are your own teacher and you don't have to bow down to any other teacher. And I really love that because it really taps into your own inner wisdom, which I think is absolutely essential um, in order for us to find out who we really are and what we really have to offer to the world
mm.
on so many different levels, because we suppress ourselves, or the world suppresses us and we suppress ourselves as a result. Again, blocking that creativity from flowing.
Now thank you. You use the word energy quite a lot, and obviously Kundalini yoga ignites this energy within, right, for this creative flow, and that's why you say you've brought in Kundalini yoga, or you've chosen Kundalini yoga. It's been the medicine to your wounds, your trauma, your anxiety. And I remember when I spoke to you when you were here at Namwa, and we birthed the creative flow retreat here at Namwa, and you being part of our facilitators, from and I still remember one night you were doing, you had teachings that you had to do on Zoom, and it was,
Yes.
I just always found it fascinating. I've done Kundalini yoga myself, and I also understand there's something around Kundalini yoga where you could have an awakening. Um, is there a chance that our guests who participate in the Creative Flow retreat with you, and in these, in this environment that already amplifies the energy which you refer to, so could there be a chance that these guests could experience a Kundalini yoga? Because I'm sorry, a Kundalini awakening, which
I
people
think,
people think, I think they sort of, when you do Kundalini, you're gonna have a Kundalini awakening. It's sort of parallel, isn't it? It comes with the
well, I think we have to distinguish. It's great to cover this topic because I think we have to distinguish between, for example, if you look up Kundalini Awakening online or on social media, I know on
Mhm.
TikTok there's a lot of kind of scary videos of people shaking and people holding their hands.
Mm.
over other people and they're shaking. That's not what this is. If you think of any other form of yoga, hatha yoga, ashtanga yoga, yin yoga, kundalini yoga is really is just another form of yoga. The awakening side of kundalini comes from the idea of this coiled nerve that sits at the base of your spine, and the ancient yogis believed that that's where your energy, there was like a ball of energy that sits there, and um, awakening it helps to stimulate the energy to flow up your spine, through the brain, back down, through the heart, through the vagus nerve, and in this circular motion, like a micro orbit, through your system. Again, the style that I'm teaching and that I'm practicing is gentle. We are not we do breath work because that is part of the magic and the technique of Kundalini that makes it so impactful. But we are not doing 3 hours of Kundalini yoga with very, very intense breath work. It's designed to be beginner friendly, and we'll just do a 40-minute practice each morning, followed by meditation. And that's really just designed to get the creative juices flowing. The aim is not to um, embark on some, you know, scary, energetic awakening. Of course, Kundalini Yoga is designed to prod and provoke on an emotional level, which is the point as well, because you need to have a few emotional breakthroughs. Sometimes there's emotions that need to come out so that you can um, feel and access those emotions. But it's going to be done in a gentle way.
Mm.
I have taught classes where at the end people have had a few tears. Um, so, but I really don't feel like anyone needs to be wary of that experience at all.
But then, then again, our retreats in the wild is about this transformation. It's about the transcendence, isn't it?
Mm.
And which you felt while you were here on site, and we see it often. It's about the way we connect with our guests when they arrive at Namwa. It's about the way that we embrace them and also allow nature, because the suites where they're staying, is every suite is next to one of the majestic trees, of Africa. And these trees themselves emanate an energy that can trigger. When we take them out and we go on a boat cruise and we have our yoga mats and they get onto the mat and you do a meditation with them to get this energy flowing, the water, the river, the air they breathe, everything stimulates and everything ignites them to transform, to transcend, to let go, isn't it? And so I think all these natural elements around Namwa is going to assist you in accomplishing and achieving the goals that you are setting out for every guest that's coming to join you on the creative flow. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and any kind of practice that you do in nature, just being in nature. We talk about forest bathing, for example, is,
Yeah.
just just being in nature is energetically powerful and healing to a person. So then combining that with the yoga practice just is amplified, as you say. So it's yeah, there is definitely a beautiful coming together of the natural and this yoga practice and the yoga techniques, definitely.
So for the guest who would like to join the Creative Flow retreat but wants to write a book and has never written a book and wouldn't even know where to start. And then you may have a guest who has written a book, has written many, and is just has hit that block, that mental block, or what do you call it, writer's block? I think you
Hmm.
refer to it as, you writers call it writer's block,
Yeah.
which you've experienced yourself. I think you said you had it for 8 months. So, and then you may have somebody who just wants to, for their own personal, learn how to journal, learn how to put their expressions, their words down on paper. How are you going to take these all these various guests on these varied levels into a place where you can ensure that they all benefit from your teaching.
Great. So yes, this retreat is really for anyone who wants to write, no matter what they want to write. If they want to write a book, if they want to write poetry, if they want to write a memoir. I just recently suggested to someone who's coming on the retreat that because she was also like, I'm not sure what to write. I was like, well, so she's in her 70s, and I was like, well, why don't you think about what you might want to leave behind for your children and grandchildren? There's so much in your life that you know you might want to write about to just leave stories behind. So essentially, we're all made up of stories, you know, and whether that's real story, lived stories, or stories that have caught our imagination, other people's lives. A lot of people have said to me that they want to write a book. I think there's a book probably in all of us, in everyone. So the aim of my writing retreat is not only to provide the inspiration and the facilitate the creative flowing, but also to provide structure. So we will have sessions after the yoga. We'll have writing sessions where we'll draw on the themes and the emotions that have come through the yoga, and we'll start to learn how to structure a novel, for example. How do we build out characters? And everyone will be supplied also with written material that they can also take away with them, so that they have something, a guide to help them as they go on after the retreat as well. So there'll be themes. So no matter what you're writing, you can draw on the themes. You can draw on the prompts. There'll be writing prompts. So whether you're journaling, for example, you'll have prompts to work with. Um, and we'll be having structured writing time where everyone goes away. Now they've got almost like a task that they can carry out. Of course, if someone has already written books, then they already are fairly well versed in the process, and then
Mm.
maybe they just need the time away from their busy lives. And I know that that's a thing, definitely. We are so busy
Yeah.
these days. You know, you romanticize what it's like to write a book, and you imagine waking up gently and having a cup of coffee, and you're sitting at
Mm.
your beautiful desk with a beautiful setting, and you just have hours and hours to write. There are not many people who actually have that in real life. So Nambwa, African Monarch Lodges, and Nambwa Tented Lodge, and this retreat gives us the gift of this beautiful natural setting in the wild, the untouched wild, um, with time and just space for ourselves with no interruptions from
Mm.
our busy daily life.
I was driving with guests going to Horseshoe from Namwa, and we drove past this area with these massive leadwood trees, and it provided such beautiful shade, and there was, not a lot of bush, so it was cleared. And I thought, wouldn't it be amazing that, and I haven't even shared this with you, to take the
Hmm,
desks and go and plonk them next to a tree. So every guest sits with their desk, a beautiful writer's desk, and sits next to a tree, and we just spend a few hours there, and they can, you know,
amazing.
write one of these stories. Wouldn't that just be incredible? And then obviously you've got the elements coming. We'd have to have guards all around, just making sure no lion walks up or buffalo or something. But that's exactly.
Isn't that amazing though, that you might be sitting there in a line? I mean, of course, we'd obviously make sure, you know, everyone was safe, but isn't it
Yeah.
amazing just to have that inspiration at your fingertips?
Mm.
From my own experience of being there, I've experienced it, I've felt it. I
Yeah.
mean, the fact that you know, all this wildlife, you know, you've got hippos in the river and you've got elephants traipsing under your tented suite. I mean, it's just you can't ask for more
Mm.
majestic inspiration.
Yeah. So, Anne Marie, one of the, when I started retreats in the wild, um, I made it my mission to ensure that we bring profound teachings to our guests, and that the right facilitators are the ones leading this to deliver these teachings. and to ensure that our guests, one of our promises, and one of the promises I made when I started this, was that every person, every guest that we welcome into this space will leave transcended, will leave having shaped or shaken or released something that's holding them back. And so I'm very, very cautious and careful when I select a facilitator. And I tell you, the moment I spoke to you, you shared your story with me so beautifully and so with such vulnerability, and I think as a facilitator and as a teacher, you need to be able to connect with your guests, correct? And share this vulnerability. And you were able to share that vulnerability with me. You were able to share your story. How easy is it for you to do that sitting in front of 10, 15 guests? Obviously, we keep our numbers small, so it's intimate.
No, I mean, first of all, you also must give yourself credit because I think that it's the way you connect with people too that enables that vulnerability, which is obviously why you are also the perfect person to be running retreats in the wild. Um,
Thank you.
but yeah, I think that I am an open, vulnerable person by nature. It's what helps me in my, well, probably what makes me a writer, because emotion comes easily to me. It's not something that I've shied away from, but I know that a lot of other people struggle to connect and express their emotions, and so that's why I think that I can connect easily from on that level, is because the vulnerability is something that I've thought of as a gift, whereas other people might, they probably think that, well, they might think it's a weakness and they want to shy away from it. And I think that it's very beautiful when someone is able to open up and become vulnerable and become softer, and emotions can come out of them. And I've seen it happen
Yeah.
in my yoga classes, and it's a beautiful moment to see that them be able to express that, because I think they sometimes are scared to express it, right? And once it comes
Yeah.
out, they're often kind of surprised as well because they don't expect it. But that's the gift of Kundalini yoga as well, is that it very, very quickly takes you inside and helps you to express. And what
Mm.
I'm hoping is that people will leave, or at least, with a feeling of that they've been opened up, their heart's been opened up a little bit, and yeah, this, if not
That's
the story,
wonderful.
then at least the emotion is coming out a bit
Mm.
easily,
That's
easily.
wonderful. Yeah. Because you doing, or you going to be facilitating a retreat that harnesses the spoken word, and as we all know, human beings were gifted with what we received the greatest gift, and that is the power of our words. And I mean, we all know words create. Words is they're actually spells, hence being called spelling. Um,
Mm,
and we so unconsciously and almost ignorant at how we use our words, and we constantly coding our reality with our spoken word, spoken or written. These days, so many people don't pick up the phone anymore. They text, whether it's on WhatsApp or Facebook, or, they express their story through using the power of their words. And we write and speak on autopilot. And we still tell stories. And a lot of times we perpetuate ourselves through being a victim, through relating a story from our past, and we hold on to this because we get the gratification of people noticing or acknowledging or feeling sorry for you, and almost and giving you the attention that you're seeking. So we use our spoken word or our written words, or the power of our words, often to keep ourselves in this loop, this negative loop, and it becomes our reality, because words spoken, I mean, is so powerful. We manifest through our words. And but we can also keep ourselves as the victim of our traumas, of our pain, of our grief, of our suffering, in this in that container of our words. And
Mm.
I recently received. I'm busy working with a teacher of my own, and she said to me, she gave me this homework, this piece to do, and
Yeah.
to write my story as I've been telling it for years. And I'm like, why would you want? You're trying to get me to change. You're trying to get me to transform and to let go of all this stuff. Now you want me to actually write it and get it done and sort of stamp it in as she says, well, it's there already. And then she said to me, now you're going to take that story and you're going to rewrite it, but with you as the heroine, with you
Love
as
it.
taking back your sovereign power and letting go of the stories that have defined your life. Rewrite that story. And I thought that was such a powerful. Firstly, I went, oh my word, I wish Annemarie had already done her creative flow retreat, because then I'd learn how to write these two stories. Choosing the new words to replace my old story. And
Oh,
so I just thought,
that's
what a
beautiful.
beautiful teaching, what a beautiful exercise that we
Mm.
could, that, if you're interested, we could actually harness during our creative flow retreat. Because I'm still stuck. I still haven't written it. I have time though. So hopefully I can extend it until we've done our retreat in June.
No, do you know what? That is so perfect because it so fits in as well with the teachings that I've gone through with Kundalini yoga, and that's what I mean. Like the teachings that I've gone through is more than just this is the pose and this is the breath work. That is part of it, but it's really also about how to move forward and not be
Mm,
stuck in the past. Um, and that is exactly it. It's that there are things that we can't forgive in our
mm,
lives. And those are the things that we hold on to and that define us. And then we believe that that is who we are. It's been such an impactful thing for me to realize that I don't have to be defined by these
yeah,
things. There's different kriya in Kundalini yoga. It's called kriya, which is a sequence. There's different kriyas or sequences that you can do, like the kriya for forgiveness, which is going to be part of my creative flow retreat, that you can do to help you to let go, forgive, in order to move forward and be more present, because what do we want most actually in life is to be more present, right? And it's difficult to
exactly.
be present when you are still thinking about things that are holding you back from the past, or they're still stuck in you somewhere. So I love that.
I think we're going to have
And
so much fun.
you are a good writer, by the way. So again, Kundalini yoga can help you with your self-esteem as well.
Aha. That's what I need. And I think so many guests, we don't know, they arrive and we have no idea what baggage they arrive with.
Totally.
And we all carry baggage. And if we have these tools that can lighten the load and can get them to have this energy flow just so freely, and for them to just pause and pause their thoughts and listen to the words between the thoughts, that space, that the unspoken between the thoughts. And that's what the pause teaches us, is to just phew, to just breathe.
Yeah. No, exactly. And our thoughts are sometimes too powerful, right? They overwhelm us. They sometimes almost bully us. And
Mm,
that's been a big learning for me as well, is exactly that, is like, here are the thoughts, but here is the pause, and here
mm,
is actually what matters.
mm.
The thoughts are crowding us, and that everything is too busy, um, and we need to connect with what's beneath that.
For those people sitting watching and excited about joining your retreat and wanting to start, practicing now, or may not be able to join the retreat, is there something that you can share with them that they can, you know, maybe practice now already, or a little take home snippet that would could inspire them to put pen to paper.
Yeah, I actually recently did this exercise for my book, my second book, which I'm busy editing um, now, um, is to think about the why of your story. You might not know what your story is yet, but
Mm,
start with the why. What are the themes that you want to explore? For me, it's love. My stories
mm,
always have love at their heart. For someone else, it might be adventure. Everyone has something that they connect strongly with that might be their overarching theme. For me, again, it's okay, love, but human relationships, the complexities
mm,
of human relationships, and that kind of thing. So start to think about themes and your whys, and then from that you can start to think about, okay, so who's my protagonist, like who are my characters. This is of course if you're writing a fiction novel, um and then just start to think about the story from there, and if you do come on the retreat, at least then by then you would have an idea of what is the story that you want to tell, because it would be great if you could arrive at the retreat already with some idea of what is the story that you want to flesh out, so that you can get like very quickly into the writing. I think that's a good place to start.
yeah. And for those that, you may have somebody who can't come up with that concept, you'd be able to, if they arrive, you'd be able to get them there, correct? Within a few days so that they can not be
Yeah.
lagging behind everyone else.
Yeah, so that's let me give you an example. So let's say we do the Kriya for forgiveness. Um, During that Kriya, while we're doing that yoga sequence, I will prompt certain things for
Mm,
people to think about. And afterwards, we might then, for example, say, okay, so think about for now this emotion of forgiveness. Is there something you need to forgive yourself for? Write it down and start to then write a scene where you have a dialogue between you and yourself
yeah,
discussing what is this thing that you need to forgive. This is just an example of how it might carry through and flesh out and help you to start writing and start to develop your characters. If you already are more advanced, then maybe you already know, oh, okay, I can insert this scene um, somewhere in my book where this character is struggling with forgiveness. So there will be themes and there will be emotions that come out that can start to help people, um, give them the inspiration.
mm, okay. That's very good advice. Thank you. Um,
Also, another thing I wanted to say was just being in the setting in Namibia, first of all, with so much like local culture as inspiration, and just the
mm,
thrill of the safari adventure, the animals, like there's all little artifacts in one of your lounges as well. There's
mm,
history in the region that can so quickly spark a story or an idea as well. So just the setting itself, I think, is just one of those like, fuel for inspiration as well.
yeah, that is so true. We had a guest who went to the Sidgwa project, and it's our recycling center, and walked in and then came back and was so inspired to write a story about the butter pot, but a kiddie story, an
Oh,
animated story,
oh,
and
cool.
how this ginger ale can. So the story was around the ginger ale can who wanted to also be selected to be melted down and become a butter pot. It was
I
such a
love that.
beautiful story. And she actually wrote the story and she's handed it over to us as a gift that we can publish. And that was just an inspiration going to the Sidgwa project. So you're quite right. There is a lot around here that can inspire stories.
Yeah, and I remember going on a game drive with Eustace, one of the guides who
Mm,
works with you, and he is just, he has so many
yeah,
life stories to tell. So just even from the guide's own stories, you might come up with something that inspires you.
exactly. No, you're quite right. Now, what about AI? Where does AI fit into to writing today. Everyone is using AI. You can see it on social media. You can see it when people hand in work or whatever. You just see it. It's so visible. It's taken over. Is there still a place for creative writing or writing your own stuff when AI has just dominated or starting to dominate? What's your thoughts on this?
Interesting question. I recently listened to a podcast with Simon Sinek, um, well known in the advertising world, and around this very topic. And I loved what he said because he said, yes, I can write a book with AI, but he's just written a book, another book, and he said, but if I hadn't gone through the turmoil, the time, if I hadn't gone through that myself, I wouldn't I wouldn't be the better person for it. And so I guess my answer is if you really want to get something out of it, then what's the point of using AI? Yes, okay, if you want to just get the product and like sell it, great, but it's not going to do anything for your soul. That's the whole point of this the retreat, and for me, the point of writing and the point of being creative in general is to feed your soul. AI can't do that.
That's so true. What a beautiful response. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Um, Annemarie, it's been such a pleasure speaking to you. And I really and truly am looking forward to you coming out here as a facilitator. Um, you're the second one in our lineup of our 7 retreats that's being hosted here at Nambo Tented Lodge next year. And just seeing what's going to happen to, firstly, seeing the types of people and guests that'll be embarking on this journey with you, and to seeing, as host to these retreats, I'm always fascinated to witness the unfolding, to witness the creativity that comes out, and with what you're going to be doing. Yours is a tangible physical result that we are going to be able to see. Um, what you're going to be teaching. So I truly am looking forward to seeing this all unfold next year, to see you in your sovereign power standing in front of our guests and just bringing all this energy and this light out of them for whatever their masterpieces to go out, and whether it is to share with just their family back home or with the world at large or just with us. I truly am looking forward to seeing this magic take place. And I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for agreeing to being a facilitator on Retreats in the Wild, walking this journey with us as we continue helping to transform people, having them step into their true essence, and having this beautiful area, this beautiful location, the power of nature assist them in doing so. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you, and thank you for inviting me. Yeah, it's an honor, and I'm also very excited. Can't wait.
So Annemarie, this is going to be quite it's a journey out into Africa for most of our guests for the first time. It may be a journey out to Namibia for the first time, and coming into the bush. Now, how do you think that, or how comfortable or how easy would it be for that guest who would like to come and not necessarily have a partner or wish to travel with a partner? Do you think this is a retreat for single people, or not everyone?
No, I think that's perfect. No, I think
Okay.
yeah, no, absolutely. If you want to come on your own or if you want to bring a partner, it's really, really up to you. So I know that, as you said, some people might be worried about traveling so far into an unknown area by themselves. But in my own experience of coming to visit you, and I think that you would agree, African Monarch Lodges, you and your team have so much care and so much dedication to your guests. When I arrived, for example, like there was not one moment where I felt alone, or like I didn't know. You know, there was transfer
Yeah.
from the airport. You helped us to get there from the minute you get met on the boat, and then, you know, taken down the river and met at the lodge. It's done with so much care and nurturing that the whole
Mm.
experience, you know, it was not intimidating or overwhelming in any way. So that's from the lodge and from the practical side of traveling alone, which I know can be daunting for some people. But from a retreat point of view, um, you know, writing is a solitary journey, and so for many people, it
Yeah.
might be a beautiful, great experience to come on their own, because it means that they can really um, go inside and really focus on themselves. But then again, we will have other retreat guests. So it's still a small group, as you mentioned. There's 10 suites, so it's not an overwhelming number of people, but you will still have connection, and be interacting and be able to share your work with other people and get some
Mm.
feedback potentially. So, and you will still have this safari experience with the other guests. So you won't necessarily be alone. You know,
Mm.
we've already got some guests signed up, and it's a wonderful group of people that have
Yeah.
signed up from different parts of the world. So yeah, I think it could actually be even more transformational if you come on your
Yeah.
own. That said, of course, if you bring a partner, um, you know, that's completely up to the person as well. And maybe you bring a fellow writer, and then you bounce off each other. So it all just really depends on where you're at and
Mm.
what you want to get out of it, I think.
Yeah. So this has been the pause. And I'm Tinolla Rogers, and I hope that today's conversation reminded you of the beauty of slowing down. We look forward to welcoming you, whether in spirit or in person, here at Namboa, to one of our retreats in the wild. And until next time, pause often and pause deeply. Thank you.